Hello, my name is Oscar. I study at the Pan American University of Puerto in the Faculty of Education and Humanities, School of Modern Languages. In today's video, I will go through a few exercises talking about accommodations. So, what I have is a series of sentences with some gaps that we will have to fill and with some potential options where we must choose the correct one. So the most important thing here is to read the sentence and understand the context of it so we can choose correctly. Okay, so the first one says the prices in the hotel were blank much lower than I'd expected. And the possible options are clean, reasonable, central, and dirty. So, since the prices were much lower than I'd expected, the correct option here is reasonable. The prices in the hotel were reasonable, much lower than I'd expected. Next, we have it was really blank in our room. We couldn't hear anything but the sea. And the options are tasty, spotless, peaceful, and again reasonable. So again, we need to look at the context. The second sentence says we couldn't hear anything but the sea. So the room was very quiet. And the quiet per se is not between the options, but we have peaceful. That fulfills the same function or the same meaning. So it was really peaceful in our room. We couldn't hear anything but the sea. And that is the correct answer. Peaceful. Then we have sentence number 3, which says the restaurant was blank space with just one waiter looking after all the tables. And the options are polite, attentive, untidy, and understaffed. And this is a very easy one because if we're talking about a restaurant that has only one waiter looking after all the tables, of course the correct answer is understaffed. The restaurant was understaffed with just one waiter looking after all the tables. What this means is that the restaurant doesn't have enough staff, enough personnel. Okay? And that is the correct answer. Understaffed. The next one says, unfortunately, our hotel was next to a nightclub. So it was very blank space all night. And this is the opposite of a few sentences back. So the hotel room was right next to a nightclub, which is very noisy. And the options that we have are quiet, warm, firm, and noisy. So by the context, the correct option is definitely noisy. Unfortunately, our hotel was next to a nightclub, so it was very noisy all night. And that makes perfect sense. Next up, our hotel's blank space location meant that everything we needed was nearby. And the options are central, inconvenient, comfortable, and friendly. Okay, so one just curious thing within this exercise is that both central and inconvenient could make logical sense as an answer, but given the context that everything we needed was nearby, of course, the correct answer is central. Our hotel's central location meant that everything we needed was nearby. If the second half of the sentence were different, if it were the opposite, our hotel's location meant that everything was far away, then the correct answer would be inconvenient or hotel's inconvenient location. But both the other options, comfortable and friendly, just don't make any logical sense in this sentence. Okay, so in summary, our hotel's central location meant that everything we needed was nearby. And that is the correct answer. Next up, we have 6. The receptionist was a very blank space. She didn't even say good morning. And we can already see where this is going. The receptionist didn't even say good morning. She didn't say hi. So let's look at the options. Attentive, crisp, rude, and modern. And of course, the correct answer here is rude. The receptionist was very rude. She didn't even say good morning. All right? Definitely the correct option there. If the second half of the sentence was the opposite, another possible answer would be attentive. But this is the opposite. She was very rude, and that is the correct answer. 7. All the furniture was very blank space and need to be replaced. And the options are spotless, tatty, modern, and unhelpful. So we're talking about furniture. And said furniture needed to be replaced. So the correct answer can't be modern, unhelpful, or spotless. It has to be tatty. So the furniture was not in good shape. So the right answer here is tatty. Next up, we have the room was absolutely blank space, much cleaner than I'd expected. And the options are cramped, spotless, worn, affordable. So, because of the context given in the second sentence, much cleaner than I'd expected, the correct answer here is spotless, which means it was extremely clean. It's a way of speech. The room was absolutely spotless, much cleaner than I'd expected. Okay, that is the correct option there. Now, for the second or ninth sentence, we have everything in the bar was blank space. They were charging $18 for a beer. And the options are overpriced, cheap, stained, and affordable. And this is actually funny because depending on the character that is saying this sentence, maybe he could think that everything in the bar was affordable or that it was cheap. If it was a person disconnected from reality and with very much income, maybe a fictional character. But yes, $18 for a beer is certainly overpriced. So that means that the cost is way too high and unfair. That's what overpriced means. So everything in the bar was overpriced. They were charging $18 for a beer. Okay? And that is the correct answer, overpriced. And the final sentence says the receptionist was blank space and dealt with my requests immediately. The receptionist was blank space and dealt with my requests immediately. And the options are impolite, cheap, stained, and attentive. So in this case, the receptionist was attentive because she dealt with the requests immediately. So the correct answer is attentive. The receptionist, sorry, was attentive and dealt with my requests immediately. And that is all. That is all for today's video. Thank you for watching, and I will see you on the next one. Bye for now.